Hey, volleyball fans, Coach Dennis here from Max Touch Volleyball, where we believe that the game is the best coach. So get out there and play the game. Today, I'm going to tackle practice planning, and there's lots of sites online that you can use, but I'm going to approach it from how using the cycle of actions will make your practices better and your players smarter. So the first thing we need to identify is what is a practice, and it's simply the act of repeatedly or regularly training and performing a skill or an activity in order to get better at it. The cycle of actions is a series of events in volleyball that repeat themselves. So if you put regular practice of the cycle of actions, you get great practice sessions. At the end of this session, you will know what the cycle of actions is, you'll know how to use it to create effective practice sessions, and you'll know why it's good for both coaches and athletes. So the volleyball cycle of actions, at the heart of it all, is reading and decision making. And I know in my own practice planning, at the top of every plan, I always write those two things because I don't want to forget how important they are. Then, once the game starts, it always starts with a serve, and that serving team moves to their base position. They would transition to defensive positions. They would read, make decisions, and defend in some way. Then one of two things happens. Things don't go so well for that team, and they end up having to serve receive. Or things go well for them, and they get to transition to offense. They then attack, and then one of two things happens. Either the attack goes well, and they get to serve, or it doesn't go so well, and they have to go back to their base position, and the cycle of action continues. At Max Touch Volleyball, we believe that game-like situations are the best way to train, and so we encourage you to always look at those. As I said before, reading and decision-making should always be a part of your training sessions. So let's watch this match, a little snippet, between Japan and the USA. The Japanese are in the front screen, and they are about to serve to start the cycle. Then they're going to go to their base positions. They're going to read, they're going to make a decision, and they're going to defend. Then they transition to an offensive play. They end up having to dig it, and it continues. And that cycle of actions will repeat itself over and over and over. So what we're looking at is, where does the cycle break down? Wherever that happens, you train it. So you observe your team and you watch, where is that happening? If it's happening on the defensive side of things or the offensive side of things, or possibly even in the reading and decision making, those errors are opportunities for you to train. And that's how you create your practice plans. So why is the cycle breaking down? Well, that's the question you have to ask, and then you go and train it. As we've said several times, the reading decision making are important, and they are also often the cause of the errors. So if a player is not tracking the ball correctly, it has nothing to do with their platform, it has to do with a tracking error. So train them in conjunction with all the skills. Footwork is also very important. I highly recommend training without the ball and going through footwork patterns 10% of the time, then putting them into context probably 80% of the time, and then reviewing them another 10% of the time. What I have here is a list of things that could break down at various points in the cycle of actions. So I'd encourage you to click pause so that you can have a look at it and see if you can identify some of the things that break down in your own cycle of actions. I also want to let you know that just because I have it in a certain column doesn't mean that it couldn't be happening elsewhere. How does the cycle help athletes? Well, it gives them a context in terms of the entire game. So it explains the why we're training things versus the what and the how, and it creates a common language based on understanding. It's very much an external focus versus an internal focus. So we would say something like, listen, team, we're not terminating because the cycle is breaking down at this moment, versus just saying, we got to work on passing because we can't pass. Turns things around into a very positive light, and it allows us to take advantage of our strengths, like say if we're a strong serving team, and saying we can take advantage of that so we can become better passers versus we just can't pass. Finally, it sets up nicely for method 1, 2, 3, and simulated play activities, which I'll look at in a later video. So in conclusion, the cycle of actions has a lot of benefits. It helps coaches improve the ability to detect errors. It makes better practice sessions. It allows athletes to see errors as a part of a whole plan versus just specific weaknesses. And it also allows coaches and athletes to communicate very clearly with each other. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. Otherwise, share it or click on that bell so the next time we produce something, you'll be the first to know about it. Until the next time, this is Dennis from Max Touch Volleyball saying get out there and play the game.